Scaling Challenges, Managing Growth and Innovation.
Hello to this new panel. I will try to be very mindful of the time, so I already let everyone know that I will be interrupting, but very charming way. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our esteemed panel discussion on a topic that's pivotal to the future of healthcare technology: scaling challenges, managing growth and innovation. In the MedTech industry, where breakthroughs can transform lives and redefine healthcare, the journey from concept to commercialization is filled with unique challenges. Today, we're delving into the complexities of scaling innovation, ensuring that the solutions of tomorrow are not only groundbreaking, but also accessible and sustainable. As we stand on the pinnacle of technological revolution, the ability to manage growth while fostering innovation is the key to unlocking the potential for MedTech. It's about navigating the nuances of regulatory landscapes, financing the future, and ensuring that our innovations are not only disruptive, but also deliver meaningful impact. Our panel today is composed of industry leaders and visionaries who not only faced these challenges head-on, but also emerge as beacons of success in the field. Now, without further ado, let's meet our esteemed panelists. But before I introduce them, let's add a creative twist to this introduction, and let's incorporate a metaphor related to navigating high seas. After all, we're here on a beautiful island in Malta, and steering innovation through the complex waters of industry requires the skill of seasoned captain. So panelists, the stage is yours. Let's hear your stories, your insights, and of course, your tales of navigating through stormy seas and discovering new horizons. Konrad, I would like you to start.
Good morning, everybody. It's extremely nice to be here again. I was here last year, and much has changed in the setting, so that's really great. In terms of my background, I'm left. Sorry. I left the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, in spring. I was national director there. I used to work for pharma, Novartis and Pfizer, headed up the innovation lab in Novartis. And therefore, I've worked a lot with companies on the verge of actually sort of making it. And that making it and that ability to scale the proverbial hell out of things is where a lot of companies either really fly or they absolutely fail. I've seen a lot of companies fail, and I've seen only very few succeed. So that is the interesting space that I'm navigating in, and currently I'm running my own company. It's an advisory company where all of that knowledge from pharma, pipeline, pathways, and working with health tech startups and scale-ups comes to play. Working in the US, Ireland, UK, and Israel. So it's really lovely to be here.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward, and I'm being interrupted.
Thanks. You. Agnes?
Hello, everyone. I'm Agnes. Thank you so much for having me today in MedTech Malta. It's my first time here, and really pleased to be here with you all. I'm CEO and founder of Innogrant Advisors. It's a Swiss-based funding and innovation consultancy where we focus on boosting the innovation pipeline for companies in all sizes, from small to large. And that also includes, of course, strategic partnerships and commercial strategies, as well as funding. So we are unique in combining public and private funding to maximize growth for companies and stakeholders. My background is chemistry. I have a pharma R&D background with PhD in chemical engineering, and my recent roles were leading CVC in biotech in a global company from Thailand, and leading strategic innovation for the last 15 years.
Thank you so much. Christian?
Hello, and welcome everyone, and thank you for the possibility for me to be here with this wonderful company. I'm Christian Kuntner. I'm a computer engineer by heart, and I am a director of development of Bright Hills. I was lucky enough to join that company 19 years ago when I was the 7th there, and I saw that company grow from 7 to 150 over the past 19 years. There we are doing software development primarily for medical companies, and we know a lot about regular software development. And during this journey, I saw a lot of good and bad examples what it takes to grow from 7 to 150. I don't have a metaphor for high seas, but on the weekends and after work I do fly. And navigating when you fly is really similar to navigating on high seas and navigating during innovation as well. So you have to have a focus, you have to do your planning, and you have to have a vision where you want to go.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Bori?
Thank you. It's really nice to be here today. Hello, everybody. About myself briefly, economist by training. I started my career at UNICEF as I love everything impact. And after an MBA, I pivoted into venture capital over a decade ago. Over this decade, I have invested over 20 plus companies from early stages into later stages, which is my current focus, Series A, clear product market fit. Yes, I have seen failures, I have seen exits, I have seen follow-up rounds, and I'm planning to bring this perspective into the conversation. I love how diverse this group of people is, so I'm excited to address the topic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So now having in mind scaling challenges for managing growth and innovation, I would like our esteemed panelists to have a quick overview of their take on this topic. So would you like to start, Konrad? I would bring the digital transformation in healthcare.
Sure, thank you so much. So I think for digital healthcare and digital health, probably it's around 95% of digital health companies fail. And they land on the Series A graveyard, and that's it. Because the main challenge that cannot be overcome is actually the ability for founders to step out of their founder brain. So if I have, and I work a lot with, I have worked, and I'm working a lot with very driven founders, but some of them in the past and have been too much in love with their own product and with their own, quite frankly, with their own ego. And when you can't overcome that, you then fail to get the right people in that challenge you and that actually tell you, hey, the path you're on is never going to help you scale, because you either want just yes men and women around you, or you don't want to form the right partnerships because you think you're going to lose your, not even IP, but you're going to lose your purpose. And I think that's one of the reasons why these 95% land on the Series A graveyard. Is actually nothing to do with that it is digital health. It's to do with personalities. And I think that's the main problem. And lastly, one of the other issues is that a lot of companies struggle forming partnerships in digital health with, for example, with life sciences companies. Life sciences companies, i.e. pharma, can be a really good anchor to drive up uptake of your product, but it's damn hard. It's almost more difficult than getting public health contracts, because pharma companies essentially act almost as co-investors if they go into a partnership with a digital health company. There's many success stories, but again, there's also, I've been on that side in Novartis, heading up the innovation lab there. You got so many companies coming to us, wanting to work with Novartis, and ultimately, absolutely no chance, because they couldn't manage to speak pharma, and we couldn't manage to speak startup. So the language is already a problem, and we couldn't align a Series A startup with a massive conglomerate that is Novartis.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Konrad. And because you mentioned ego, so I would play a little bit on this human aspect of innovation. And therefore, I would like to ask Christian if he could bring his take on overcoming challenging in scaling tech teams.
Yeah, when it comes to teams. Well, the ladies here will talk, I'm sure, about finance. So you will have budget for your growth. And then after you have the budget, you just hire people and you're done, right? So I think we all agree that it's a bit more complicated than that. I think when it comes to growing a team, it has really two sides. There is the hard side of it, which is easier, and the soft side, which is harder. And on the hard side, as you grow, you need processes to let your team grow. That was something that we learned at our company as well. If you have a team of 15 people, everybody knows what others are doing, everybody can help the others. It's not much an issue of not having processes. As you grow, then you need processes. And why it will become important is that if you work with innovative people, they would like to have efficient processes, because if they are feeling that they are working in vain and they have to tackle inefficient processes, they will just leave. You can also scale your team internally or externally. Very important aspect, internal growth, you just need HR, that's easier. And external growth, you need partners, very good partners. And on that part, you can bring in additional skills and expertise. But the very important is that the longer you go along with your partners, the more important it is to have an aligned culture with that partner, because that was something that we learned, that if you work, your culture are not aligned, then sooner or later it will bite you. And this brings over to the soft side. So if you want to grow, you don't just need to hire additional people, you need to make sure that you keep your people. You need to be able to give them the ability to grow and to learn, and you have to build this into your culture. Otherwise, they will leave and it will just like pouring water into a leaky bucket. They will leave.
Awesome, thank you so much. And thank you for keeping the time. I really appreciate this. I will a little bit inverse the order, and I would like to actually ask Bori for investors' perspective on scaling MedTech ventures, to bring this twist as well in this conversation, because dealing with innovation requires managing few things at the same time. So could you tell us a little bit about your perspective?
Yes, absolutely. So I very much agree with the aspects that the gentleman brought into the conversation, the founder's personality, the soft skills, the hard skills, the actual financial means you need. I would split it a little bit by stages of the company, right? As the challenges are very different for a truly early stage pre-seed seed company compared to a Series A, B, C, a proper growth stage company. In the early stages, it is really a lot about agility, finding the right team, building the right team, pivoting, constantly pivoting, testing, measuring as much as you can, and successfully at the end of the process, building your product and managing the initial go-to-market. And from a venture perspective, we put a lot of emphasis on the founder personality, right? Not only the skill set, but how that given person will perform under pressure, for instance. And to also give some advice, like we should have checked who is in the audience, but building the right board, the right advisory, and having enough self-reflection to know your own limits, and where you are able to grow and where you are unable to grow, to meet what the company needs is essential. At later stages, I would say that walking this fine balance between keeping your burn and your cost under control while maintaining double, triple-digit growth is something that can be extremely challenging. And it's, again, a multi-factor matrix. But the founders who are successfully executing, they are keeping that in the forefront of their thinking, measuring everything, and continue iterating all the time. So maybe that would be it to start with.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bori. And I also would like to bring, again, essential tips for securing funding and managing growth, Agnes.
Okay, so I can also add to the leadership a little bit that it's really crucial to have the team alignment, and also that in different stages of the companies, before I get into funding, how important it is to consider where the company is at and what kind of skill set it requires, right? Because as soon as you grow, as you say, as Konrad said, yeah, Innovation Valley, Series A, graveyard, what kind of skill set do I need? Do I need a CEO transition, or what is happening? So it's very important factors to consider. That's one important point. And actually, why 95% of the companies fail, regardless of health tech or others, all the startups, right? Like in Switzerland, we've seen already over 30,000 companies incorporated until today, and we expect over 50,000 companies until the end of the year. 90% plus are failing, and 45% is due to the lack of product market fit. And to make the product market fit happen, that's you need to know your customers. So when it comes to scaling challenges, you don't only want to scale your own product, but you want to scale your business, and you want to be a sustainable business, then you need to have business model innovation as well in there. You know, what kind of business models how can you innovate your business model? Because maybe licensing out will not help you, or when it comes back to the commercial factor, right? You need to know your market, because if you're only working with one niche customer base, that will not be able to, that's not scalable. So have a scalable business, have a scalable product, of course, scalable business and scalable market, otherwise it's not going to happen. With the funding, you can scale really well with funding, accelerating technology readiness, with public funding as well, non-dilutive. Portfolio companies can benefit, and the investors can benefit too, because it lowers the risk, right? So how to secure that? Again, you need to position well, and it starts from the market.
Awesome, thank you so much. So now I would like to have a bit of the discussion within the panelists. And I would like to start with a question which Agnes brought also with what she just have mentioned. So the question would be, what are the most effective strategies for sustaining growth in MedTech? Who would like to start?
I can, it's fine. Right, so I think, I mean, this is rounding up a bit of what everybody said here. Ultimately, it's the right partnerships with the right, if you're a sort of smallish Series A European digital health company, it's the right partnerships in the life sciences space or in the large MedTech space, depends on where you sit. And I think that can elevate you to sort of new heights, because ultimately you can get, you can run around with a Novartis, Pfizer, whatever, my last two employers, approval stamp on your slide deck. And a lot of people think that's good for due diligence. Hey, they work with Novartis, they know what they're doing. So that's one thing. The other thing is public funding. So it never really, I mean, this is UK perspective, but in the EU is similar. That is a ginormous money pot that does never run dry, I feel like, right? It's because Europe has that drive to keep funding for companies to actually stay here, the European Union or in the UK, to stay in the UK. The National Institute for Health Research in the UK has a budget of £2 billion a year for essentially the small UK, and that is to fund biomedical research, but also digital health. So keep partnerships in play, but also tapping into these public funding pots. And I'm sure you guys have lots to add. That's why I'm not going to keep going. Are some of the two key strategies.
Konrad, thank you so much. And now I would like to ask our esteemed panelists why they agree or don't agree, and why.
I don't agree that funding is endless. Right, so I acquired around public funding, especially almost 200 million, and expert evaluators, which I am working with the Commission for the last 15 years as an expert evaluator too. It's really hard and tough job. So getting public funding is not easier. It's not a low-hanging fruit. It's not easier than getting private funding. But it, of course, tackles different technology readiness, and there is different potential in there. Yeah, probably at a lower technology readiness, you don't need a business plan at that stage to acquire funding. But I think funding is definitely something which you should consider. You will need more funding as you scale. You need to cover your employees, and you need to also, if you go for clinical trials or go through the regulatory hurdles, it will cost a lot of money, and then you will need to be able to finance that. So, yeah. Yes, I do agree with the bringing public and private together, and this is also why my consulting is focusing on that, managing that, and the partnerships as well. Public-private partnerships can help you lead the way and making the impact through these technologies and to the funding, yeah.
Thank you so much. So Christian, Bori, do you have any take on that?
No, I completely agree on the partnership piece. So you cannot have all knowledge in-house. You cannot build it completely in-house. So I think that's very important. And scaling on the technology side is challenging, but it's the easier part, I think, because you have seen massively scaled softwares everywhere, so that should be able to done. So you have to be able to find the person who is able to do that. Partnerships are key, so that you can bring in additional knowledge. And like I said, you need to make sure that cultural alignment is there.
Yeah, I very much agree with the mixed instruments, if possible. So get non-dilutive funding as well to your company, if possible. Watch out for any strings attached, right? So in some instances, I see that the price we pay in terms of destruction to the core strategy, or the paperwork around it, or the effort to secure that funding, I think that's something that needs to be considered. But of course, you need any resources you can get your hands on when building your business. When it comes to partnership, yes, absolutely. Build the partnerships early on, not only with institutions, not only with customers, again, with the right key opinion leaders. Build your board as expert as possible early on. And you know, in the VC game, we have very clear-cut criteria. Each VC has slightly different ones, but at the end of the day, the industry has its rules, and the math needs to work. So I strongly would advise to understand those metrics that the venture capitalists will be looking for, and to start optimizing for it very early on. Because that can make a huge impact, that instead of 100 no's, you will have 99 no's and 1 yes, and you got the funding. And just a last note, tremendous respect for the entrepreneurs, right? So we are sitting on the other side of the table, except for Christian. It's a tough business out there. To grow, to sustainably grow, and kudos to anybody who is able to make it. And when you are not able to make it, then build from that experience, and next time you will do better.
Thank you so much, Bori.
So
we do not have too much time actually for another question, but I would like to ask if someone from the audience would like to ask something.
Audience participation.
Yes. Anyone wants to ask a question? Maybe to have some guidance on this journey in innovation?
You make people stare from their phones.
So yeah, Konrad seems to be like an audience part to this one too.
So Konrad actually wants to volunteer you and pick a random person in the middle of the crowd, maybe third row left too. Who is that person?
I'm not going to pick a person. I want to go on the one thing is corporate venture funds. It's just a big sort of flag. They're difficult to get into, more difficult than anything, but I work with the guys in the US, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and so on and so forth, but also with pharma venture funds. And they're extremely important in helping you drive your scaling mechanism, because it's money and partnership. Especially in the US, they can help you drive. They help themselves to create more revenue when they work with you, and they will invest in you because they are invested in you. right? So that is a big, big plus when you work with a corporate venture fund.
Thank you, I take it.
I know the time.
Sorry. Thank you, guys. Just one thing. So I would like to thank our esteemed panel for this fantastic panel discussions. I really love that. First, Konrad openly outlined the path through digital landscape and brought his opinion a little bit everywhere. So I really appreciate it. Agnes provided a roadmap for securing financial resources and navigating through fiscal landscape. Christian shared the opinion about strategic guidance concerning the overcoming hurdles while scaling the teams. And finally, Bori offered us a beacon of insight from the investor's perspective on scaling MedTech ventures. So to wrap this up, I would like to introduce all of you who have listened to please come and speak with the speakers because we'd like this conversation to continue later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.